You're tuning into the High Performance Path podcast, and I'm your host, Alex. If you want to increase your productivity, enhance your mental performance, hack your sleep, and build a bulletproof body, then you're in the right place. Get ready as we dive into interviews with performance coaches, business owners, and health professionals to find out their daily routines, habits, and movement practices. All right, let's go. All right, listeners, welcome back to another episode. Today's guest, she is a nutrition coach at Lotus Health Co. She's a dog lover and a fellow CrossFitter. Welcome to the show, Elin Granstrand.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, tell the listeners where you come from and how did you get into nutrition coaching? And I want to know your why behind nutrition coaching.
Yeah. So I'm from Sweden, which I don't know, people usually pick it up pretty quickly. Well, some people don't, but anyway. I've been here for about 6 years now. I'm 27 years old, turned 28 on Friday.
Oh, you did or you do?
I do turn 28 this Friday, so it'll already be my birthday one.
What have you got planned on that Friday?
I have a friend coming from Sydney to see me. I'm going to go out for some drinks on Saturday.
Nice.
But yeah, it'll be a good weekend.
Yeah, cool.
So I've always been like really interested in nutrition. I've always been active, always been training. Like I used to compete in pretty high level in like dressage when I was younger. And then when I stopped doing that, I kind of just, didn't really know what I was doing. I was just going to different gyms, going for heaps of runs, just doing like the normal, girls want to be skinny kind of thing. I think I started my first diet when I was like 16 or like 15 years old, like really young, which is so normal for girls.
Yeah. And what was that? Like
that
just
first
curious.
diet?
Yeah, what did you start?
I think I just started like eating like typically like clean food, like that people see as clean, like just basically just lettuce and tuna during the week, like tomato, like salads during the week. And then on the weekends, I would just be in that kind of like, calories don't count on the weekend. So I just got all out and just undo like, everything that I lost during the week basically. Cause I was like, it doesn't matter. So I was doing that and then I pretty much just jumped from diet to diet ever since until I was maybe like 25. 24, 25. I've tried everything that there is to try. I've tried like keto, carnivore, eating clean, like fasting, like every single thing you can think of. And I just never found anything that worked for me. And the reason for that wasn't because of me. Like it wasn't anything wrong with me. It was just that these diets, they weren't sustainable for me to stick to for a long time. Like I could stick to it for like 4 weeks or something. And then I would get to a point where I was like, I just want carbs or I just want to eat breakfast and not skip it or whatever it was. And I would do that. And then I would just get into the mindset of, I fucked up. Like I can't do it. I'm a failure. I failed. I can't do this anymore. And I would just quit and go on a massive binge for like a week. And then I would just jump on the next diet and, the cycle would just continue. And I was only training because I wanted to look a certain way. I was only going to the gym because I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to look like one of those bikini models. I just wanted to, look toned and, look good basically. And I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. So that was just making me even more frustrated and making me even more like harder on myself, dieting harder, failing like harder because I was just, when you restrict yourself that much, you build up those cravings and, your willpower is a muscle as well. And it's only that strong. Like it's same as training like legs or something. You can only train it for that long. Eventually you need a break. And if you don't give it that break, it's going to burst. Same thing goes for your willpower. So that was just what kept happening for me. And when I moved here, it just kept going. And then I watched those documentaries on Netflix. Have you seen the Fittest On Earth? Yeah, everyone's seen them.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this looks like cool. Like I could probably do that. And these women are so strong. Like they're all different shapes and like bodies. They look different. They look like they're just enjoying the training. Like they're cool. Like they're superheroes basically. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give CrossFit a go.
So that was your first view of CrossFit?
Yeah, well before.
Watching the Fittest On Earth.
Yeah. Well, like I heard about it before, but I just didn't really know what it was. Like I was kind of in the bodybuilding mindset that anything that's not super strict is like cheating. Like you hear about all these injuries, like especially like 5 years back, like everyone was just hating it like on CrossFit, like it was injuries, you don't do anything properly, like bad form, all the all
got
that
a really
stuff.
bad rap.
Yeah, it got such a bad rap, and it's definitely changing now. But I still like meet people every day. They're like, "Oh, CrossFit." It's like, anyway. So I got into CrossFit, and I remember my first session. I just walked in, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like no one cares what I look like. Like people were 20 kilos heavier than me, and they were training in a crop top and booty shorts, and I was like, and I was wearing long tights and a big shirt because I was so uncomfortable, and like I was just so amazed that people were just training hard, and they only cared about their performance, they only cared about like that you showed up every single day and the attitude, and that you tried your best, and like you gave everyone a high five at the end of the workout. No one gave crap about if you were wearing like the newest brand or if you had abs or anything, and that really changed my mindset. I still had like a bad relationship with food at this point, but I was training really hard, so I was seeing changes in my body and I was getting stronger and fitter, but I got to the point where I just wasn't progressing anymore. And that's when I reached out to get a nutrition coach, because I was like, well, my training is really good, so the only thing that's lacking is my nutrition. Like I was kind of doing what I always done. I'd eat really clean during the week and then get to the weekend and I would just binge eat because A, I didn't think calories mattered on the weekend, and B, I was just so like restricted from like not like eating 1,200 calories a day all week while training. And for someone of my size, like that's just not sustainable. So yeah, I got in contact with a nutrition coach that introduced me to macro counting, which is what I teach in my business. And it worked really well for me. I got really good results, but I kind of started becoming a bit too obsessed with it. Like I was very, like my coach was very like, oh, it's not her fault, but because I'm that kind of person who wants to do everything perfectly, and she kind of was encouraging me to do it perfectly. It just wasn't a good match, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
And I was getting to the point where I was getting so obsessed that if I was going out for coffee and I asked for a dash of milk in my coffee and they put more than like a little dash, I would freak out because I was like, oh my God, it's not going to fit my macros.
There goes your fat for the day.
Yeah, I was like, no. And like, 2 grams over or something. Like I was obsessed with hitting like the 0 every single day. And that's just not sustainable. And I did progress in training, definitely. But I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like I went home for Christmas and all I was stressing about was how am I going to track this? Like how am I going to count my mum's like homemade cinnamon buns in my fitness pal? Like, oh my God. Like I was just stressing out instead of enjoying my time there. And because I was only hanging out with people who were counting macros and doing CrossFit, I just didn't really think that it was anything other than that. But now when I was home, I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing out on. So that's, I stopped doing that. And I was still like, oh, but I still like counting macros. But I was like, surely there'd be something that's not as strict that you can do. Like you don't have to eat like 100% clean food, and it doesn't have to be 100% every single day. So by this time I'd already started my nutrition degree because I was like, this is really cool. Like I would like to help people as well.
It sounds like you're pretty into nutrition and learning about food at this point.
Yeah, I've always been
sense.
really interested in it, and I was like, well, people are asking me for advice, I might as well like do it and see if I can actually make this a career. So I started, like I was doing that, but I was like, I think it was just on Instagram or something. I got it was like a post about flexible dieting, people eating donuts and stuff, and they still looked amazing and they were training really hard. And I was like, what is this? This is cool. Like, can you actually eat donuts and still be like lean and train, and you're not going to gain a bunch of weight? Because even though I understood what macros were, I didn't quite understand that, the calories are what matters when it comes to weight loss or weight gain. That 300 calories from a donut is the same as 300 calories from sweet potato. But in my mind, it was like, no, if you have the donut, you're cheating, you're failing. But it's not like that. But the more I read about it, the more I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, this is something people need to know about. And I was just surprised that people didn't know, and that they were doing all this like other diets that would look so much harder, because this looked so simple. All it was track your macros. If you want to have a cookie, you can have a cookie as long as it fits your macros. And I was like, wow, cool. So I finished my degree, started up my business about a year and a half ago. And yeah, I've been trying to educate people on how to eat, not just tell them what to eat, but how you can incorporate your favorite foods into your lifestyle, and that you can have, a burger on a Wednesday and an ice cream on a Tuesday night if you want. And it's not going to be the end of the world. And, you can make it all fit. And it doesn't have to be so strict. That I would much rather be you doing it 80% and then having those 20% to, go for a spontaneous gelato night with your friends, or having a couple of drinks on the weekends. Because at the end of the day, you have to find something that's sustainable for you, and that you can work with long term.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. Yeah, so I want to dive into that a little bit. That's flexible dieting. So this is how you help a lot of people, and I think a lot of people would benefit from this style of tracking their macros, because we know it is fact that weight loss is calories in versus calories out. So if you eat less, if you consume less calories than you're expending, did I say that right? Consuming less calories than
eat less than you burn, basically.
Then you will lose weight.
Yeah.
And so if you track your calories, like you said before, 300 calories of a donut is the same as 300 calories of sweet potato. But people look at that as in that, oh, that's a bad food, that's a good food.
Yeah.
But the calories are really what matters.
Yeah, exactly. And
so what sorry, what were you going to add to that?
No, I was just going to say that yes, you might get some like vitamins and minerals from the sweet potato and some fiber, but if you really feel like something's sweet and you have that craving, like the sweet potato's not going to cut it. You're just going to be eating a sweet potato, still feel like that donut, and then you probably go and eat that donut and probably 10 more, because the cravings are going to build up that high.
Yeah, so adding in these foods that if you have a craving for something, you can add that in, or if you have a meal out with friends or something, you can go and treat yourself and still have a social life and still eat foods that you enjoy.
Yep.
As long as it all fits in your macros, so it's sustainable. That's the key here.
Yeah.
Picking a diet and whatever you eat, it has to be sustainable.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So, what are some of the misconceptions around flexible dieting, or what's the main mistake you see people doing when they first start doing this?
So I see a lot of people, or I hear a lot of people say that to me, that flexible dieting is just like fit as much crap into your macros as you can. And like, I can understand that, because that's what people post on social media. Like, no one wants to post their boring salad that they had for morning, also for lunch, or like, the egg whites that they had for morning tea, so that they could have that donut in the afternoon. You only post what's going to look good on your social media.
That's true.
So that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions, that is just a whole bunch of crap. Like, no, it's 80% good, wholesome, nutritious food that's going to make you feel really good. It's going to make you recover. It's going to make you be able to perform in your workouts. But then it's also that 20% that's just food for your soul, like food that's going to make you feel good and happy and have a life. That's what I believe, and that's what I try and teach my clients.
Good stuff. All right, so what's the first thing you recommend someone do if they want to improve their diet? Like, what? Obviously, if you can give someone, the best diet and everything to start following, but if it's too much to change, then if it's too difficult, they won't be able to stick to it.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm coaching and stuff and PTing. I know like behavioral changes. It's best to start with small changes that are easy rather than making too many changes straight up.
Yep.
Do you take a similar approach to coaching your nutrition clients?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what's the easiest thing people can start to do if they do want to make a change to start eating better? Like, what's the first thing you recommend they start doing?
So, like, I definitely agree but the problem is that people always want to do everything at like at the start. They want to be able to like, nail their macros, nail their training, go from training like 0 times a week to training 6 times a week, go from like squatting 20 kilos to squatting 100. Like, people are not patient. And that's what I'm trying to explain to people when they first start out, that, okay, this week I just want you to focus on drinking like 2-3 liters of water, sleeping 7 to 8 hours per night, like eating 5 serves of vegetable a day and like 2 serves of fruit, like stuff like that you start off with. And then but most people don't want to do that. Most people are like, okay, well, I still want to track my calories or something. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll start with your calories and your protein, because that's the main, like that's what the most important here. Like carbs and fat is very individual. It's more like, some people prefer higher fat, some people prefer higher carbs, some people train a lot and they might need the carbs, and but if you are someone who wants to start tracking your food, I would suggest starting with just tracking what you're eating at the moment and just seeing how, like seeing what numbers you add up to. And then you can kind of see, like, obviously you need to have your goals. So if you have a coach that set your goals for you, start with just eating, like tracking what you're eating at the moment. And if you see that your protein is, down like 60 or something, then you might want to look at increasing that.
Yeah, right. So not changing anything, just tracking what you're currently eating.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware
Just
of
so
where
you're
you're
aware.
at.
Yeah, because
then you can change, or
yeah, exactly.
your coach can help you change wherever you need to change from there.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm only eating 1,200 calories a day and I'm not losing any weight. Like, and you put me on 1,600. Like, how's that gonna work? But people always underreport of how much they eat. They always think that they eat way less than they actually do. So by just tracking how much you actually eat, that might be a really good eye opener for someone. Even though, for me, sometimes even I'm like, if I don't plan ahead and I go out and eat something, and then I get to the end of the night and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna see what I actually like, how much I ate, and like food is a lot higher in calories than you think.
Yeah.
Especially the really yummy food.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I want to go back to when you spoke about your transition from eating for aesthetics and then starting CrossFit and starting to focus on performance.
Yep.
And how you had to change your diet. So I want to know what the difference. Well, I want you to explain to the listeners what the difference is between eating for aesthetics and eating for performance.
Yep.
Because they're two very different ways to eat.
Yeah. So eating for performance is you're more likely to be in a surplus, or at least like a maintenance or a very small deficit. So the athletes that I coach that are trying to lose weight, they have a very, very small deficit compared to like the average person who just training to lose weight. Like if you're just training to lose weight, you don't really care that much usually about your performance. You might just sorry. You might not care as much about your performance. You probably care more about, losing that weight. You might not care that you not PBing every second week. Well, if you're training for like an event, like a CrossFit competition or something like that, you still want to keep your fitness level as high as you possibly can while still maintaining like a healthy, good body weight. So I think it's like training for performance, that's when the quantity or quality, becomes very, very important. Someone who trains a lot is going to have to be a lot more careful about, eating those wholesome, nutritious foods than someone who doesn't train as much, because they're not going to have that energy requirement.
Yeah, because if you're training for performance, you want to have calories in to use as energy, and you need calories and you need carbs, but if you have too many, then you've got too many calories. And if you don't want to put on weight, then you'll put on weight. So there's that fine line of eating enough for performance, but not too much so that you put on weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And this, like a lot of people struggle with that as well, especially a lot of girls, like athletes. I think it's just like a girl thing, to be honest, that they struggle to, they're like, oh my God, am I going to eat like 250 grams of carbs per day? Like I'm going to get fat. I'm like, no, like you train 2 hours in the morning and then an hour again in the afternoon. Like you're going to need probably more than that. Like people are just, for some reason, food just makes people feel really guilty and anxious. And like I can understand that. Like I used to be the same. But we just have to take away that guilt and that anxiety from food. Like your food or calories is just like your budget. It's like you're spending your money on stuff. Like if you go out and buy a really expensive car, then you're probably going to have to save for the rest of the month or year or whatever. And if you go out and you have pancakes and ice cream for breakfast, you're probably not going to have as many calories left for the rest of the day. Like it's the same thing. It doesn't have to be so much like guilt about it. It's just calories. Like.
Yeah, sweet. Back when you were trying when you were experimenting with different diets, I want to know your thoughts on fasting, both short-term fasting and if you have tried long-term fasting. What I mean by short and long, short fasting is like 12 or 18 hour fast, and then long fasting like 4 or 5 days. Do you have any experience with either of those?
I have done fasting where I started, where I had like an 8-hour window or 6-hour window to eat.
Yeah.
But
which is the most common?
Yeah,
that
that's the
people are
most
trying?
common one. To be honest, I am not a fan of fasting for days because I feel like, what's the point? Like your body detoxes itself anyway. Like that's your liver and your kidney. That's what they do. And I've heard stuff like it gives your digestive system a break. It's meant to make you grow more muscle or more growth hormone. And like, you can find anything on the internet if you Google the right words.
Yeah.
But if you are someone who doesn't like breakfast, absolutely, that's a great way to restrict your calories. If you're doing it because you want to lose weight and you think you're going to lose weight from it, and you don't want to count your calories because sometimes that can, confuse people. People think it's a bit hard or a bit too obsessive. And it's a great way for that because you're cutting out like 1 or 2 meals of your day just by eating from 12 instead of eating from like 8 o'clock. So like sometimes if I go out for a big meal, for example, I sometimes skip my breakfast because then I have an extra like 300-400 calories to put to dinner. But I don't call it fasting. I just call it skipping breakfast. Like you don't have to put like labels on everything. Like sometimes I eat low carb, but doesn't mean that I'm keto. Like do whatever you want.
I think we're really good at putting labels on things today. Like that's literally that, just skipping breakfast to save some calories to eat later.
Yeah.
And we've just labeled that intermittent fasting.
Yeah. And it's like, oh no, you have to do this diet now. And if you eat breakfast, you have failed. And that's what I want to get away from. Like if you don't want to eat breakfast, don't eat breakfast. Doesn't matter. If you wake up next week and you want to eat breakfast, go for it. Like, doesn't matter.
I haven't tried fasting myself. I just wanted to know your thoughts on it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it can be really good for calorie restriction, like because you do like skip meals, but at the same time, it can also make you so hungry. So like you go all morning and you're just like, oh my God, I'm starving. So when you get to your lunch, instead of just eating your pre-packed rice and salad and whatever you had, you just don't feel like you're full. So you go and eat your cookie and you go and have like a big frappe and then you have another, bag of chips or whatever, just because you're so hungry and you don't feel that you're full because you've been restricting like you haven't eaten for so long. So I've experienced that myself, and like for Christmas and stuff like that, when people are like, oh, I'm going to save my calories for lunch or dinner, and then you get there and you're so hungry, you're just like a bottomless pit, and you end up eating like
probably ate more.
Exactly, like 3 times as much as you probably would have if you just would have had smaller meals leading up to that meal.
Now, I know nutrition and exercise go hand in hand in living a healthy lifestyle.
Yep.
So I want to ask you what your kind of exercise looks like. I know you do CrossFit.
Yep.
Is there anything else you do on a weekly basis? Like, what's your kind of week of training look like?
So I wake up like pretty early, walk my dog, not only like 10-15 minutes just around the block. And then I work for a couple of hours and then I go train at CrossFit Light in Mayfield.
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah. And then I come home, work a few more hours, and then I take my dog for another like hour, 40-minute walk. And that's all I do. I used to train twice a day, but honestly, like it's more for me, it wasn't worth it. Like, I don't want to be a high level CrossFit athlete. I don't want to be putting in that much like energy into my training and programming, and it was just kind of taking away from my quality of life. Like, I found that like I had to say no to like going out with friends, or even just having a night by myself, and like stuff like that. So yeah, at the moment it's just once a day, about 6 times a week.
Yeah, sweet. Book recommendations. Do you have a favorite book that you've read that you would recommend to the listeners?
Definitely do.
It doesn't have to be on nutrition or training.
Oh,
any topic.
All the other ones are Swedish, so I don't think anyone's going to enjoy them. But my favorite book, like the book that started it all, is Chasing Excellence from Bergeron. Have you read that?
Yeah, good book.
Before that, I had no idea about this mindset stuff or anything. Like, I was just kind of under the impression that you're born this way and that's how you're going to be for the rest of your life. And that just opened it up so much to me. And it just, like, it honestly changed my life so much. Like, I broke up with my partner that was, like, really unhealthy relationship. Like, I ended friendships that weren't good. Like, it just made me push myself out of my comfort zone, took my training to the next level. It was just, I absolutely love that book. And definitely, I can't recommend it enough.
I think it's good. That book, actually, when he talks about excellence, you can apply those things, not just to your, like, so for those of you that don't know Ben Bergeron, he's a CrossFit coach and he coaches a few high-level athletes.
Yep.
And he coached Katrin David's daughter, who ended up becoming she won the CrossFit Games, so she was the fittest female on earth under his coaching. And
from like not even qualifying the year before.
Yes. And so most of that book is about excellence, but in the context around training and nutrition. But that mindset and that excellence, you can apply that to every area of your life, not just training and nutrition. So I think it is a training book, but you don't have to be into CrossFit to get a lot out of that book. It's a really good book on mindset.
Yeah. And it's just like, because some of the books that I've read recently, like after that, have been a bit more complex. And I feel like if I would have started without those, I wouldn't have liked. I would have been like, oh, this is too confusing. But because that was kind of like a good opener to it. I really like mindset. Who writes that? Carol something.
Carol Dweck?
Yeah, that one.
I'm actually reading that at the moment. I just started it last week.
It's really good. The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday.
Yeah.
Love that.
I like most of Ryan Holiday's books. He's a really good author.
Yeah, he's great. There's so many good books out there.
Mindset's actually in my book club this month.
Oh, really?
That's why I've just started it, because it's this month's book club.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's really, really interesting book.
I think I've just read the first 2 chapters.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, sweet. All right, Netflix recommendation. What are you watching?
Oh,
what have you watched that's
I
good?
have terrible taste.
Do you?
The other day, I get stuck on like really like shitty shows. I just like watching something like before I go to bed, like because my job is so like I have to be so switched on all day.
So you just want to switch off?
I just want to like watch something that doesn't have like I don't have to think, I don't have to follow a dialogue. I can just like snooze and I can come back and be like, oh, nothing's happened. Like great. So I've watched The Circle. It's like a reality TV show.
Oh yeah. Wait, The Circle.
Yeah.
I think is that about that social media experiment? Yeah. I haven't seen that, but I actually wanted to watch that.
It's very addictive.
Is it? Okay. So it's not. I thought it was a movie. Is it a series?
It's a series. Like, so the people are like stuck in a house. Like there's like 8 of them, and no, they can't talk to each other. They can only interact via like Instagram.
Sounds like every family that's out there now.
And then they have to like vote each other off and stuff like that. I don't know. I thought it was very like at the start I was, ugh, but then I got addicted to it. And then I watched Love Is Blind, which is kind of like Married at First Sight. Like they just talk to each other through a wall, and then they have to find someone that they want to marry based on just talking to them, like not seeing what they look like. And then they get paired up, and then they go out to Mexico into this honeymoon kind of thing. But I also like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Big Bang Theory, like all those shows that everyone watches.
Yeah.
Suits, Narcos, yeah.
Yeah, sweet. All right, final 3 questions that I ask every guest. Let's kick them off.
Yep.
So if you could place a billboard anywhere in the world, where would you put it and what would it say or show on it?
Um, I would. What's that place called? Times Square in New York, like where
Yep.
they have like billboards everywhere. I would just put the biggest one there, and it would just be black with a white text on it saying "You are enough," because I feel like that's people always feel like they have to be better. They always feel like they have to be someone else, but you're enough just the way you are, and
Yeah,
that's something that
cool.
I just feel like is really important to put
Yep.
out there.
I think I may have had that answer already.
Really?
I'm not too
Damn
sure.
it.
I think I'll have to go back and check, but I think I have had that exact answer.
Well,
I don't know. No, but that's a good
great
answer though.
minds.
That's a good answer. Next one. If you traveled back in time 10 years, what advice would you give yourself? So think back, what were you doing 10 years ago? Where were you?
17. 17, what was I doing? Not much. I would definitely tell myself that people don't care what you look like as much as you think they do. Like I was so embarrassed of wearing like short skirts, like anything showing like my belly or my legs. Hated like in summer in Sweden, it's not as hot as here, but you can still wear skirts and stuff. And I was always wearing stockings or like longer shorts because I just was so embarrassed, and I thought everyone was looking at me. And just tell myself that people are not gonna, they don't care what you look like. Like wear whatever you want. Like no one's gonna care. And I would also tell myself to pick Spanish instead of French.
To learn it at school?
At school, yeah. Because
Yeah.
French I only picked because there was a cute guy there and he wasn't interested in me.
Oh, do you know how well do you know
Wasted
French
2 years
now?
of my life.
Do you know French
No,
very well?
I was terrible at it. I hated it. I was only there because of him.
All right. If you could give someone a habit to practice for 30 days straight and they would successfully do that, what would you give them?
I think this is hard because everyone's so different. Like everyone has the different struggles in life. Like someone with a really good sleep routine might not be like eating KFC and Macca's every single meal of the day, or someone that trains every single day and does great sessions might not sleep and like stuff. Or they have like a really bad mindset, or they're someone who reads all the time might never might eat really crappy. Like there's always depends on your own values and priorities in life. But one thing that I think that can apply to everyone is that you cut down your social media time, because research has shown that people who spend a lot of time on their phone are 90% more likely to be depressed. And instead of going on social media, read a book or listen to a podcast or go for a walk. Like do something that's not just scrolling mindlessly on your phone, and unfollow those people that that makes you feel bad. Like just if someone's making you feel anxious or stressed or depressed or jealous or anything, unfollow them. Like you don't have to follow them. So yeah, that will be my habit. Every time you find yourself mindlessly scrolling on your phone, shut it down, throw it away, read a book, go for a walk, or listen to a podcast instead.
I think that's a good habit to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. We got to wrap this up. So,
Cool.
where can people find you if they want to find out more? And do you have any workshops or seminars coming up?
I do actually. So I haven't 100% decided on this yet, but I will most likely do like an 8-week challenge with nutrition coaching, maybe also workouts. I haven't decided yet.
I'll put the links to this in the show notes.
Yeah.
I'll get you to send me the details afterwards.
Yeah. I'm still kind of seeing if I will be able to have time to do it. But that will probably start in April, so it's still a while away. I got 2 seminars planned in March at CrossFit Indulge and CrossFit Origin.
And what are they going to be about? Nutrition?
Yeah, just nutrition, flexible dieting, and what else am I doing? I think that's it.
Where can people find you? You have a website?
I have
media?
a website, lotushealthco.com. I have social media, Lotus Health Co. Or my personal one is Elin Granstrand. People are not going to be able to find me.
Well, do you want to spell it out?
ELINGRANSTRAND.
They can look at the description of the show and your name will be in that.
Yeah. Don't put an extra D in there. People always do that. Well, like my Lotus Health Co one is more educational, and I would say my other one is more like self-love, yeah.
Sweet. All
And
right.
Dogs.
And dogs.
Yeah.
What dog have you got? I know-
I got a little Airedale puppy. He's 9 months now. His name is Steve. He's very cute.
What breed is he?
He's an Airedale.
Airedale.
It's like a European kind of dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I've seen him on your posts and your stories heaps, but I don't know what breed he is.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to know.
Yeah, he's very cute. I can't take him anywhere. Like, people always stop me, like, what kind of dog is he? Where'd you get him from? And
He's a cutie.
he's very cute. Looks like a teddy bear.
All right. Well, thanks heaps for joining me on the show today.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was fun.
All right, guys. If you enjoyed this, please take a screenshot and share it. I'd love to see who's listening. And also, please subscribe and give a rating on iTunes. Sending positive vibes to everyone out there. Thanks heaps for listening.